Wouldn't you know it, we've been right all along once again when it comes to Disney's overspending and mismanagement of major theatrical productions. And this time, well, yeah, it's the Marvels, no surprise. And this story comes to us courtesy of our friend Caroline Reed at Forbes magazine. Why the Marvels cost Disney $374 million. And of course, when you add the marketing budget back into this, it means that indeed the Marvels, one of the biggest flops of cinema in all time, cost the Walt Disney Company somewhere around $500 million to put on the silver screen.
Renegade Online.
This from yesterday from our friend Caroline Reed over at Forbes magazine. Why the Marvels cost Disney $374 million to make. Again, this is not a production budget, or excuse me, not a marketing budget inclusive. You throw marketing in there, we're pushing up close to $500 million. $500 million to get the Marvels into theaters. Now, granted, they made some of that, or they recovered some of those costs from film tax credits, but this is still what Disney spent to make this movie. Still what they spent to make this movie. Now, we kind of covered a lot of this information before, so I don't want to belabor what we have done previously, but you guys know how Caroline Reed operates. She monitors a lot of these film production companies that are domiciled in the United Kingdom. They have to file a return. Basically, it's like a tax return every year, but a profit and loss statement that shows what they spent. And they do this in order to receive the lucrative UK film tax credit, up to roughly 25% of eligible expenses, right? So in the case of the Marvels, for the three women you see in that picture there, whatever salaries they received to be in this film, you don't get a film tax credit for that. You don't get a film tax credit for the guy who directed it. You don't get a film tax credit for the guys and girls that produced it. You don't get a film tax credit for what you paid the head writer. Okay? You get film tax credits for what you spent on mostly labor and below-the-line expenses incurred in the UK. That's it. So you get a chunk back, and this is why places like Disney have Lucasfilm offices in the UK. Because when they pay Lucasfilm in the UK to work on a Disney film, they get a tax credit back on that. If they hired the Lucasfilm guys that were in San Francisco, the UK is not going to give them a film tax credit on those people. It's only when it comes to British labor. Okay, that's the key. Renting out Shinfield, renting out Pinewood, stuff like that. So at the time last year, we lifted the actual curtain on the actual cost of the movie when they revealed the cost of the Marvels had ballooned to $270 million. It led to Vanity Fair, which up to that point had been erroneously reporting the wrong costs. See, and even Variety did. Deadline described the Marvels as a $200 million production. Variety claimed that the Marvels cost $250 million. Okay? Vanity Fair erroneously reported, because they can't read financial articles correctly, had reported that the Marvels cost $139 or $140 million. But that was based on Caroline's first reporting, and she and I both knew that that production still had a long way to go. There was going to be at least another $100 million to come in before we knew anything about reshoots and everything else. And that, of course, ballooned. In September of last year, again, went to $270 million, and we knew we were still waiting on additional returns to be filed. As we wrote at the time, costs were expected to soar even higher. Almost a year of post-production took place after the last financial filing had occurred on 30 September of 2022, and we were bang on the money. Earlier this month, we revealed that by September 30th of last year, just 6 weeks before the premiere of the Marvel, spending on the movie had surpassed $370 million US, which Disney says is, quote, in line with the production budget. Oh, really? Industry pundit. Wow, wait a minute. What is this? Caroline, what are you doing here? Oh, no, not again. Industry pundit, Valiant Renegade. Shout out to the Renegade Nation out there again from Caroline Reed. Put all of the trade titles to shame with a staggeringly accurate forecast of the colossal costs more than a year ago when he wrote, quote, Disney spent over $350 million on the Marvels. However, where the money went has never been disclosed until now. And you can see here the breakdown that Caroline has managed to put together, looking at the wages and salaries of the labor. Think of grips, think of lighting guys, people that Disney would hire to come in, construction, carpentry, I guess, might be a part of that, $28 million. I think, however, mostly that might be administrative, because I think usually if you go to Pinewood or Shinfield, a lot of times they already have the crews there you contract with, but wages and salaries they had to pay directly, like as W-2, like we would have here in the States, actual employees. Social Security and pension costs, so basically like FICA taxes in the UK, like we have FICA here, they have their own version. Production costs, $341.98 million in production costs. And that would have come down to a lot of renting the cameras, camera operators, lighting technicians, renting Shinfield, or not Shinfield, but Pinewood Studios out there, building sets, all kinds of stuff. And, of course, all of the post-production editing and visual effects, CGI, and everything else that would have been done at London-based post-production facilities and VFX studios like Lucasfilm UK. So there you go. That's what they spent to do the film. Total costs just a hair shy of $374 million. But again, Valiant got it right. Thanks, Caroline. Caroline got it right, too. We both knew that this was going to go higher. And I bring that up because, like we had the conversation earlier with Captain America, I've already told you, it's going to get worse. The problem is that Captain America, I don't think it did any of its filming in the UK. And I could be mistaken. I could be thinking of something else, but I'm pretty sure that Captain America did a lot of its filming, I thought, in the US. They may have done some in the UK or some in Canada, where they can get tax credits. But the problem is there's not a public reporting requirement like there is in the UK. We may never know for sure, but I feel very confident in the numbers I'm telling you. If the Marvels cost $374 million, Captain America 4, Captain Falcon, it's going to have to be at least that. Probably more. Probably more. So there you have it. Thanks again to Caroline Reed on that one. It's fascinating to see how these things continue to just explode in people's faces. Really Disney's face.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.